Hello guys, it's Katie from Blueprint Games here. I hope you had a wonderful holiday season and a great new year. So we've got a couple of new changes to talk about. I think the most important one is the change to the double jump, and I will explain that in a minute. First off, I just thought I'd explain Billy's new skin going on. She hasn't had a redesign, don't worry, but we have implemented skins. So, it might seem a little bit weird when we do sort of, I don't think skins are the most important thing to work on, but because we're working with the UK Games Fund, we promised we'd add skins at this point, so we've added a temporary way to add skins, and on top of that, I think it adds a way for you guys to interact more with the world, because at the moment you can collect bells, but they don't really do anything, as you probably noticed. So it kind of gives you a way to spend your bells, and a more of an incentive to use those bells whilst we work on some of the elemental mechanics that you can later unlock using the same method. The elements are slowly being developed throughout the game when we need them. We're working on the ice mechanics at the moment, and then we'll move on to the other mechanics shortly, but for now, the bells are only used for aesthetic purposes. So you'll see that Billy is currently sporting this bunny look, so that's based off Clive from Clive and Wrench, which is another 3D platformer. If you haven't heard of it, I will post their Twitter and their Patreon below. But Rob's a dear friend of ours, and he's put lots of references to our game in his game, so of course I really want to return the favour. So this is our Clive skin, and it will include his hat and backpack and his shorts as well, but we need to do that later because I'll have to have it all rigged in so that the clothes deform correctly, and I don't want to use Luke's time at the moment for something like that, because he's busy doing more important animations right now. So yeah, we've got our Clive skin, and I thought I'd wear it for this video, just to sort of demonstrate an idea of what kind of skins you'll be able to get in the game as well. And we'll have an Oscar skin partway through the video as well. Some of you might remember it from before when we were taking skin requests. You are still welcome to make skin requests, by the way, if you have a certain skin you'd like to see in the game. Please leave a comment below. I really want Patreon to be an interactive experience where you can talk directly to me and see changes in the game, or you influence the game through your comments. So let's get started. I'm going to talk a little bit about the changes to the double jump. So once we started working on an interior level, I found there was a couple of issues with some of the mechanics. Since it's a little bit more linear in places, especially in these sections, I'm thinking of having certain areas in the game that were more open and more areas that are more linear. I think Sly Raccoon had a very good balance on linear and open areas. So there's more focused story-based sections, but then you also have some free roam areas. So the idea of this section is you have to escape the prison and you'll end up in the Otter Island. The Otter Island will be remade simply because that was mostly just a test area for the mechanics, and that'll be more open, and then we'll move into the Cat Pirate territory, which will be the Cat Pirate Island with the Cat Pirate City and Elaine's mansion, and that will sort of go between open and linear gameplay. We're trying to still have somewhat of an open area inside here as well, in the sense that you'll have some options to split off from the main path temporarily and explore exciting new areas that aren't important to the main game, but I think everyone likes to find secret hidden routes with fun new areas to explore. Okay, so let's talk about the changes to the mechanics first. So the main mechanic change we've had is the double jump, and the reason why we've changed that is because originally it had an impulse on it. So if you were to, like this, so basically we wanted a way for the player to retreat if they were changing their mind about a certain jump. And you'll see that it still does that, but the method we're using is a little bit different. So originally, we've always made it important that the character double jump is not about height. You'll see that she's not really gaining that much height, but she is gaining airtime. And it's all about horizontal movement, which is important. And I think it allows a bigger moveset and more options during gameplay compared to a double jump that's just height, because when you have just height-based options, I found that level design-wise, my levels were getting taller and taller to stop Billy from just cheesing the entire level, especially with her wall jump move. And a glide, a very overpowered glide, that it breaks the mechanics a little bit. And instead of just getting rid of the umbrella altogether, instead we're making adjustments to the rest of her moveset and possibly making the umbrella forward a little bit faster, just so that she can't cheat her way through the level. So in terms of how we changed the double jump, it used to give an impulse, and the impulse was a little bit uncontrollable. So it would push Billy quite dramatically towards the direction you were pulling your thumbstick. And if you play the original demo, you'll see what I mean. So if you go into the water, if you jump out of the water, it automatically does a double jump, and you'll see how quickly you can go across the ocean surface using the double jump. And you might find it a little bit hard to control because it's going to push her. I'm not sure what the exact amount is, but if we say it's an impulse of 100, the double jump would push you 100 in that direction, and you couldn't really control it. But the new double jump, if you were to tap lightly on the double jump, you can now control your distance a lot better using the thumbstick on your Xbox controller. Not sure how many people are using Xbox controllers. I would recommend it though, just getting a cheap one if you want to play the game to its full potential. It's best played with an Xbox controller or possibly a PlayStation controller. It's mapped to the Xbox controller, but I've heard other people who have had results with the PlayStation controller, so I assume it works fine. Haven't personally tested it. But yeah, so better to use an actual controller with a thumbstick because you can control your direction and your speed a lot better. Okay, so yeah, so the way it works now is instead you get airtime, so you hover in the air. And so it allows you to have more control on your double jump, like so. Sorry if it lags a little bit, it's a bit hard to record with OBS and then the game sort of suffers for it. But you can see that I've got way more control with the thumbstick now and my double jump and a lot more horizontal movement, but not much height. Okay, so that's the first big change. The second big change is we've changed the wall jump a little bit. So now if you jump off, you can't simply turn around and keep jumping up. It's something we didn't really want to change. You can still use the umbrella to turn around, but we had a few issues where you could, for example, you see these two sections here? Beforehand, you could cheat the entire level design by just jumping off two walls next to each other. So you could technically climb up here, or I think you can still do this one. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's broken a bit. There we go. Yeah, so we found that a lot of the level design would break instantly because of the wall jump. So now with the wall jump, once you've committed to that normal and you've bounced off, you can't change your direction during the jump. Beforehand, you could turn back around using the analog stick. So that's going to make it a lot harder for people to just cheat the level design. So that's a somewhat big change there as well. Let's play through the level a little bit. So one thing we need to sort out, and something I noticed throughout gameplay, is that the camera needs some work. So I was wondering how to do this before. And it seems like from playing other games like Sly Raccoon is you just have to play the game through and see which way the player is intending to go and put the camera on a spline, which is something we can do already. We've done it with the wall jumping to make sure that the camera stays still during wall jumping sections. But we're gonna wait until the level design has been somewhat finalized and tested by you guys, because adding all the splines might take a while, and I don't want to have to keep rearranging everything when the design is so subject to change right now, since we haven't tested it at all with anyone outside of the team. Okay, so next big thing is, actually I'll show you the Oscar mechanic first. So Oscar has a bark. You probably discovered it in, oh, it's already activated. Okay, you probably already discovered it in the demo, but the whole point of the bark isn't just to look cute, but to attract enemies. So if you're playing as Oscar in co-op, or even in single player, you can easily attract a cat pirate over to the location of your last bark and keep them distracted. So let's say you need to get past a certain area inside the game, then Oscar can distract whilst Billy gets past. Right now the cat pirate doesn't attack, I don't think. Yeah, just completely ignores Oscar. That was mostly due to a glitch that we had very last minute towards EGX. If the cat pirate spotted Oscar, she would or he would run towards Billy instead. Which is obviously doesn't make any sense, and you probably noticed the little glitch with the sword there. We'll fix that up soon. But yeah, it doesn't make much sense that the cat pirate spotting Oscar would mean they'd know the location of Billy, so we temporarily just removed the ability for the cat to see Oscar because we were close to EGX and we didn't want to risk any bugs or last minute problems when we were going to the expo. So that will be added back in, that Oscar can be attacked and his health can be reduced. Okay, let's continue. Next thing we have here is Billy's new elemental skills. So you'll see that we can bring this up. If you've messed around with the demo that you currently have access to, you probably would have found this. So by pressing the F key on the keyboard, I don't think there's a way to bring this up yet on the controller for Xbox. We'll add that though for when we put this up on Patreon, this version of the demo. But you can select different elements and you'll see that it slows down the game in the background. So some of these will allow for combat options. So let's say you're attacking some sort of ice monster and you want to switch to fire, you can quickly do that without having to worry about your game messing up in the background. So the only thing we've worked on so far is our water element. You can now target an enemy and then freeze them. So this is a very work in progress mechanic, but it's working on a basic level. The idea behind it is you should be able to slide the cat pirate around and use them as an additional platform, or you could just push them off an edge. If there's like a hole in the floor, you can get rid of them. The ice should melt over time, but we've disabled that for now whilst we just test the mechanic and make sure it works, because it got a little bit annoying during gameplay to constantly have the cat pirate melt. And cat pirates with lanterns will melt faster, since cartoon logic, it's hot. Obviously it wouldn't work that way, but it's fun mechanic-wise, and it will take a little bit of time as well, so we're going to have it build up like a meter. Similar to if you've played Psychonauts and you set characters on fire, you have to concentrate on the character for a while, not lose line of sight to be able to freeze them. It's not that instant, otherwise I think it might be a little bit overpowered. Okay, so that's the ice mechanic done. Let's continue. So this section design-wise, it's obviously a little bit empty at the moment. Oh, we've got some weird Oscar glitch. There we go. Okay. Hopefully the frame rate's not too bad. Computer's lagging a little bit. What was I saying? Oh yeah, okay, so in terms of design-wise and art-wise, just so you can sort of imagine it, we're in a cat pirate prison that is encased inside a cave. So the cat pirates have started to hollow out the mountains of the Otters Island, and are taking all the gems and stuff they find inside, and that's kind of destroying the ecosystem of the island, which is why the otters aren't too pleased about having the cat pirates around. But they also have cells and prisons and things like that where they've captured residents who are causing too much trouble towards their operation, and that includes you. The current running theory as to why they capture you is because they want to use your elemental magic that you have throughout the game and find out the secrets to it. The running story currently is that magic has sort of been lost to the world, but Billy has been able to manifest it again. But there's a whole story. I don't want to go too far into it, especially when it's so work in progress, and I don't want to put any accidents or spoilers out there. So, the cat pirates capture you, and if they catch you in your spotlight or their spotlight partway through, they'll put you into the nearest... Oh, I accidentally killed that cat pirate. Oh well. So they'll put you in a nearby prison cell. So it's a little bit like Wind Waker. I haven't actually played Wind Waker myself, but I've definitely taken a look at it for inspiration. They have a similar pirate level, and if you're caught, you'll be put into the nearest jail cell. So in a similar sort of way, you'll be put into the nearest jail cell if you've been spotted in their spotlights, and you won't have access to your umbrella or your sword. So this section of gameplay is purely sneak-based. It's not allowed to attack other characters, and Oscar won't be there either. He will be introduced partway through. So if you're playing co-op, you'll have your own sections to play through. And Oscar will meet up with Billy partway through. This is Oscar's first adventure with Billy in terms of the gameplay timeline, so it gives you a chance to learn how to play Oscar by himself without Billy, hence the reason why the characters are separated. Whoop. Next up we have this otter here who is going to be a cat pirate, but is currently using an otter model. And this is our first shop interface, and it looks absolutely terrible, but it is just made to be functional at the moment in terms of testing. So we have enough bells to buy slot 1, and that will automatically equip the new skin. Let me just exit out. Annoyingly, the exit out button on the keyboard is the same that closes Unreal, so... Anyway, you'll see that Oscar now has a raccoon skin on, and we will have a way to equip and unequip skins and clothing items later down the line, like being able to change Oscar's bandana, you should be able to change the color of that along with his skins, and that needs coding and a UI designed to go with it. So unfortunately I killed the cat pirate for this section accidentally. You're not supposed to have Oscar, so you shouldn't be able to kill him. But the idea is you can use the tables to sneak underneath undetected from cat pirates. Ooh. Okay. Sorry if it's getting a little bit laggy still. So this is one of the problems we had with the original double jump, which we no longer have. Because we've already changed it, I can't really demonstrate this to you because I didn't record it. But when you would... Actually, I might have a recording somewhere. I'll try and put it up right now. If not, then I'm just going to demonstrate exactly what it is now and describe to you what was going on. So when you double jumped into things like this, not only would you have a complete lack of control of your speed and how far you wanted to jump, it would also cause mechanics like this to bug out quite a bit. So if you were to jump into the trapeze, it would just send you flying and it would make the trapeze go round and round and round in circles, since it uses physics constraints. Now, completely easy. No more problems like that. Hopefully this will be a lot more entertaining with actual art in place. I know it looks a little bit dull at the moment. Obviously, feel free to add critique about how you think the level's flowing so far. Personally, I feel like there needs to be more areas to explore. It's still quite a bit too linear, but I closed it off temporarily for the update for the UK Games Fund. So I think there's going to be an area up here to the left, so you don't have to go the complete linear direction and continue the story straight away. You can go and explore on the other side of the wall here. But that is currently a work in progress. We then have this little vent shaft system, and you can crawl through the vents, and it's supposed to be similar to how you can crawl under here, so it'll put you in first person mode. But it's a little bit buggy at the moment. You can still go through the vents, but just because I've gone out of it, I don't think it's going to spawn me there. But the point is that you can crawl through the vents, and we use a spline camera system, similar to what I was describing before, so that you can get a first person view throughout the level. So you can crawl through the vents and find your locations. There's some hidden rooms here that you can go to that need to be completed. There's one here, for example, but because I adjusted the height here, can't actually get there at the moment. But you can find little hidden rooms with secrets in, or you can continue the main storyline. So that's it for the first block out. We've spent a lot this time developing new level mechanics and adjusting old mechanics. I've got like a whole list here of things that I want to change. I want to change the way the trapeze works and the way the swinging works on the poles. Let me just demonstrate why. Hopefully I haven't been talking for too long. They're just sort of fine-tuning mechanics that need to be fine-tuned before we continue down this path, in case gameplay flow no longer works once we've made those changes. So one thing I find quite frustrating about the pole swing is obviously this bug, but then also it goes straight into the swing, and then if you stop halfway, it's not very realistic. So the idea is to have it correlate to the thumbstick movement so that you can swing and then eventually get into the full swing. But if you were to have momentum going into that swing, then it should hopefully go straight into that swing, if that makes sense. So if you were to jump, then you should be able to do that. But if you were to just stay still, then you have to get that momentum up again like this. And hopefully Billy's hand won't do whatever it's doing here. So we're just making a few bug fixes, and then I want to add some sections like here. If you were to spire jump onto something, then it would bend the pole underneath you. And just have it so that you affect the world. A bit like the palm tree leaves, which are currently turned off physics-wise, because we're going to improve and optimize those a bit, since the physics were constantly turned on for those and wasn't great for the frame rate. So we're going to have it that if Billy's nearby, it will turn the physics on. But it was causing the palm trees to snap into position when you got close, and it was kind of obvious, so we're just fixing that up as well. In terms of what to expect this month, you'll probably also notice, I don't think I had this in the last update, but the cat pirates do have lanterns now as well, so they walk around and they patrol the area. We're going to have some more enemy types, so we're going to have a brute class of cat pirate that has ranged attacks and can't be tackled head on. And we're also going to have, I think, a form of cat that will alert other enemies nearby, sort of like a scout-based cat. And then we're also going to start working on Elaine, which is the boss character that Ashley designed, and start making work towards finishing off this section of gameplay and start working on some of the other enemy-based AIs. And we were also having a few discussions about perhaps having a mini-boss just for Oscar, which would be like a giant chicken chef. Completely insane idea. I didn't come up with it, but I was originally going to make them a cat cook, like a big fat cat. But for whatever reason, someone else on the team suggested it be a chicken, and when I asked the Discord, everyone absolutely loved that idea, so we're going to stick with the chicken. And I guess it makes sense that they would be terrified of Oscar, who is a fox. So it would be sort of like a special Oscar-only boss level, since he needs a bit of love as well, in terms of gameplay. Okay guys, thanks for listening to this week's update. We will be hopefully pushing the new demo soon. I just think that it needs a few more tweaks so that it's a little bit more player friendly. And see what you guys think of the new double jump and the new wall jump, and see if you're able to break the game in any way. Of course, try and play the game through correctly first before you break it, because I want to see what it's like having a normal playthrough. I know a lot of you guys, when you test the level, instantly try to break it. But it'd be more useful to get footage and feedback from an average gameplay. Just sort of like expecting it the way you would play any game normally. Unless you're one of those people who likes to break games. Because that's definitely what some of my friends like to do. It's just instantly try and break the game. Okay guys, I hope you had a wonderful holiday, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week.